And good morning. I'm hoping I'm there. Hello. Good morning to you. It is February 26th of the year 2026. And I've been reminded by one of you that this is the last Thursday of the month. And even though I said I couldn't necessarily do it, that we might on Thursdays. This is all because of Rich in the North Hills, who I've learned, by the way, has changed his name to Richard. He's still in the North Hills. um, so that there be what we call a throwback Thursday and keep the show relatively light. Or not light, just like it used to be. So I can try. And actually, I have some things that are not, the usual horror show. Although I also have a few horror show things that I do want to just get in for the record. I want to note that Mamdani, the mayor of New York, has made off with our health secretary. It's one of those things where you don't necessarily know what you got till it's gone. Well, I don't know how many of us were aware that we had this extraordinary woman who, Mom Donnie, looking all over the country for somebody to head his human services department, chose her. I'm not sure exactly the department that she'll be head of the Department of Social Services in New York City. That is quite a step up for Erin Dalton, who has been our Allegheny County head of health, Department of Human Services or whatever you call it, same thing. But casting around for somebody who he thought was the best. He took our person. So my congratulations to her, my bereavement to us, and my condolences to County Exec Sarah Inamorado, who now is going to have to go on the same hunt that Mom Donnie went on, but with less to offer than I'm sure Mom Donnie had to offer. So he particularly was impressed by her work with homeless people here, of finding them shelter, of getting rid of the tent cities that had popped up along the river and in the downtown, and doing it without the police, doing it humanely, and doing it also the fact that she, while she was here, not only reduced the number of homeless people, but also deployed mental health professionals on 911 calls that often, if the police are the ones that go awry, whatever. She apparently did really well here, well enough to catch his attention, and I wish her well. I mean, it's not like you and I knew, right, that we had this amazing woman. You don't know till someone says, "Whoa, give me her." Something else I just need to, that I heard from you, Ed, emailed me the other day. He, I guess, shows up here on my screen in chat, as many of you do, And I love that you guys can talk while I'm talking, and I also can see what is interesting you and or not or whatever. And he said that something he had written yesterday about the State of the Union address. By the way, someone mentioned this, and I thought it's so true. State of the Union is often SOTU. That's what I always write down. And the State of the Union, SOTU. And some guy said, every time I see SOTU, I think F you. No, STO. Oh, shut the you. SOTU. Every time I see SOTU, I think FOTU, which is true when it has to do with Trump. SOTU, FT. Oh, fuck it. Okay, never mind. Anyway, Ed had said he'd written something about how he didn't watch it and instead had watched counter programming on something called defiance.org. And you might have recalled that I, looking at the chat yesterday, said something about Robert De Niro. Well, that's something that had gotten through that Ed had written. And it's because the thing he watched had people on it opposed to Trump, including Robert De Niro and the mayors of Chicago and Minneapolis. And anyway, I guess a whole bunch of what he said was just yanked off. Who that'd be YouTube, right? Is that AI? What's happening? So when you guys post on YouTube, on chat, we're being surveilled, and things that someone doesn't like I've seen before when it says one of you's put something in and then it says like redacted, or no, not redacted. It says something like, and I've always thought that meant that whoever wrote it decided, oh, on the other hand, I don't want it. But that's not it. How naive am I? I didn't understand. So who or what is deciding what you guys can say during the show to each other and to me that I might share? Who the hell is doing that? I don't like it. Who is it? What? I mean, it's an algorithm, right? There's not some human. It's some friggin' algorithm. And there's nothing Ed would have said that should have been censored. Nothing. Nothing. So what the I'm very upset about it. I mean, we're just being screwed with constantly. We are under constant surveillance because of this fucking technology. How dare they decide what you can say? How dare they? Yes, we're using their platform. God, we're talking to each other. I don't know. So anyway, that was upsetting to me. All of this crap. Um, whatever. Okay. I just wanted to let you know that I'm now aware of that, and we're being surveilled constantly. Wonderful. Um, okay, so oh, and another thing I just have to drop in real fast. Two things. I saw a picture of our god awful senator, not that one, the other one, Fetterman, um, shaking hands with effing Donald Trump at the State of the Union, for which Fetterman had put on a suit and tie, something he refuses to do so that he can be on the floor of the Senate representing us. He shows up at the SOTU and makes a point. I mean, you have to make a point of positioning yourself to shake the president's hand. Fuck him. Also, just the last thing about him, maybe. I saw again on social media that there is a brewery in my home state of Wisconsin called Minocqua Brewing Company. And Minocqua is a little town way up in the north. It's northwest of where I'm from in Green Bay. Is way up there, almost into Canada, and sparsely populated area. But the Minocqua Brewing Company has made a name for itself because it put out some time ago, I believe, but it's gaining steam, that just one on its homepage, just a statement saying that we will be offering free beer all day the day he dies. That's all it says. There's no definition of who he is. But yeah. And apparently, because I have to tell you, Minocqua is not in blue territory. That is red Wisconsin up there in the sparsely populated north. That they're living in territory where that would not be particularly warmly received. So it's sort of gutsy of them. And I just wanted to let you know that when I saw that, I was happy to to see it. These little ways of resistance when you can, and even in a case like that that requires some courage, because I'm sure the people who work there and own it live there and would be whatever, subject to who knows what. So yeah, free beer all day, all day. I said all day long, the day he dies. Okay. Now, ah, what did you say, Mord, that got it? See, something Mord just wrote is now off, and it says message. It doesn't say redacted, it says retracted. Well, retracted to me sounds like the person doing it decides to take it back. Um, huh. whatever. I don't understand any of it, but fuck them. So, I mean, they can't what? They can't muzzle me. I'm saying probably worse than what they're I don't understand it. I don't get it. Okay, shut up, Cullen. Nobody cares. So in hopes that I might, steer clear of some of the more unpleasant, that would be reality. Steer clear of reality today and instead talk about the past because we've obviously survived that, and it's safer territory in that regard. Richard has asked some questions that I might share with you. I mean, the answers to. He's asked me some questions. Apparently, he would find it interesting to hear the answers. Whether or not you would find it interesting, I have not a clue. So blame this on Richard if you're bored out of your mind. I think Richard. I don't have the thing right in front of me, but I made quick little notes. One of the questions was the first time I remember the first time I smoked a cigarette? Wouldn't everybody remember the first time they smoked a cigarette? Because didn't you cough? Start hacking? It was not pleasant. Anyway, I very much remember the first time I smoked a cigarette, and also I remember it as well because of the consequences of it. So I remember exactly where I was. I was seated in my dormitory, freshman dorm room at Northwestern University. So I had gotten all the way through high school and graduated from high school, and never, ever, I did not want to smoke cigarettes. And I was by myself. I had bought a pack, Marlboros, filtered Marlboros. And I had a plan, which is why I'd gone and gotten the cigarettes. I was really interested in trying out this stuff called marijuana. And because it had to be inhaled, I was worried that if I encountered it in some social situation, that I would embarrass myself by not being able to inhale and coughing and, doing whatever. So the brilliant little freshman me thought, well, go and buy some cigarettes and learn how to inhale. So when you bump into the pot, you can do it. So that's what I did. And I mean, I was sitting at the desk, and the first hit was like, hack and coughing, couldn't believe it. And then I got the idea that maybe if I so I went and got this mirror I had on a stand, and so the rest of I had a mirror that I was watching myself because I wanted to look right and do it right, and that's what I was doing on my first cigarette and then my second and third because it was hard. I did not take to it like a duck to water. It was difficult and unpleasant. I didn't like it. But I mean, the plan worked in that when I encountered marijuana, I was able to, I was able to do it and not embarrass myself. So that's why I smoked the first cigarette. The problem is I kept smoking cigarettes. And I became a pretty heavy, actually, at one point, extremely heavy cigarette smoker, a chain smoker. Always Marlboros, it was the first one. And by the time, I don't know, by the time I was well out of Northwestern and at the acting school in New York, and then married and living on a pig farm, and then going back to school at the University of Wisconsin, and then starting my career in television, I was, I mean, smoking up a storm. So I really felt at one point that there was no way I could write a story in the newsroom unless there was a cigarette going. So that's what happened. And then, of course, as you know, a year ago, I ended up in the hospital having part of my lung removed because I had cancer. So the amazing thing is that the way I stopped, I was desperate to stop, and I didn't know how. I was desperate to stop because it was interfering with my television career. I was hacking and coughing, and my voice was gravelly, and so um, I couldn't stop. And in desperation, I went to a hypnotist. And that's the first time I was ever hypnotized. And I remember being in that room, and I remember her saying, "The idea of smoking a cigarette will be absurd to you because you don't smoke." And I heard her say that, and part of me, it shows how, I didn't understand when you're hypnotized, you're not out of it. I actually remember thinking, "Oh, yeah." I mean, she said that, and I, in my head, said, "Oh, yeah," but I took it in, obviously. Anyway, the reality was I left that office and no trouble. I didn't smoke. I did, however, start up one more time when I was here, right after I'd come to Pittsburgh, and then stopped again very quickly. But so there was that. But man, I smoke lots of marijuana. So yes, that's the first time I smoked a cigarette. It would have been 1966. Um, did I ever play chess? I remember playing chess or trying to with my brother when I was a kid, and it was beyond me. I wasn't in, again, any kind of, I don't like games like that. I don't know. And it was hard, I thought. Kings, queens, pawns, move that way, move this way, think ahead, remember, blah, blah, blah. I just thought, oh God, my poor little head can't do it. Did my parents encourage me to remarry? No. No. I have no recollection of them. I do have, I think, vague recollections of concern on the part of my father more than my mother that I would be alone. I mean, yeah, because he was old school and I was a woman, and, I needed a man to take care of me and all that stuff. But no, I don't, there was no pressure to remarry. Um, their concern kicked in a bit when I decided I was going to be a single parent. But that didn't mean they wanted me to get married. No. Um, have I ever been a boss? God, no. I would not in any way, shape, or form ever want to be in charge of people who would be working for me. Oh, well, I guess I have hired someone to clean my house. I did hire when I first became a single mom, a woman who helped me. But boss? I was never a boss. Anyone I've ever hired, I kowtow to. I would no more demand anybody do anything. I might obsequiously implore, but, no. I can't even, imagine. Can't imagine. I Well, I mean, it's necessary that there are people who know that, you think of all the bosses you might have had, and it's not easy, being a good one, being one that might command, some respect, but also maybe even affection or, someone you want to work for, that you will happily work for, that you trust and whatever. That can be a yeah. Okay, I think that is that it? If I found a bunch of money, what's the threshold of how much it would have to be before I made an effort to return it? Well, I'm thinking I found it on the street. I don't know. If I found money above and beyond maybe 20 bucks and it was just there in a place, I mean, I don't know. If it were a lot, yeah, I don't know what anybody considers a lot. That's a tough one because what are the odds that you would be able to find the person whose money it was? Yike. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I mean, I don't need the money, so I would not be comfortable keeping it. At least I would give it to a charity or something, but I wouldn't keep it. I As I said, I don't need it. Um, I don't know. That one I don't know. And those are the only things I've all right, that's all on Richard, I think. Um, Nature v. Nurture has I can't talk about my son. He doesn't let me. He would get very angry. So I'm not going to. He's very private. Um, it'd be the question you're asking is a nature v nurture is a fascinating one and one that yeah I've thought about a lot, and I think any parent who adopts um, often tries to, and I suppose a parent who has biological children and adopted children can maybe more readily ascertain the impact of nurture versus nature. But then on the other hand, we all know siblings who are so, I mean, raised by the same people in the same environment and are like total with, yeah, with the same genetic input, and they're just total opposites. So I don't, who the hell knows? I don't know, but no, he does not. Mm-mm. Even me saying that would annoy him, that we're talking. So let's just. Um, Doug says, I was adopted and found my birth family. It's amazing how many traits are genetic. That's interesting. That would be fascinating. Wow. Yeah. I really feel, looking at uh, all the people I've known from babyhood on up, how interesting it is how people come into this world very much who they are, pretty much who they are. I mean, and then life and, yeah, experience changes stuff. But I think, what, I don't know. I'm just babbling. I don't know. But it is fascinating. And I would, yeah, yeah. I read the obituaries every day, so how would I write mine? I don't think I could. One of you, Aaron, sent me his obit the other day because he has written his obituary, and this was, I think, a second. This was a redo. And I told him, I said, "Wow, I mean, I am really impressed at the ability to stand back from your life and decide how you would want to present it." And also, I commended him for keeping it relatively short because, I mean, writing an obit is not writing your autobiography. So there are choices that would have to be made about what would you want the casual observer to know about you? And I don't know. You're reminding me of a dream I had last night. Wow, that was a dream. I had a dream last night. Oh, never tell your dream. Never. No one gives a damn about your dream. But anyway, in the dream, I was telling somebody, I was at her home. She was giving this huge party. And I put my arms around her from behind and whispered in her ear how much I admired her. And it was like the kind of her unbelievable work. And in reality, this woman, I do admire for the work she does. She's just amazing. But in the dream, I'm telling her that. And then in the dream, as I'm whispering that to her, I say, sorry, I didn't mean to like put you at your own funeral, because I was saying what the kind of thing that people say. Okay, I just talking about this made me think of that dream. That was a dream. It was a pretty good one too. That dream. Anyway, Timothy says, I'm also adopted, just beginning the hunt for my birth family. Wow. I can't imagine. Those of us who grew up in the family that begot us and knew the whole bunch of people who came with them, um, we cannot comprehend. I don't think. How could you possibly comprehend the reality of, uh, of Doug and Timothy and anybody who was adopted? Um, I can't imagine. I mean, I've believe me, obviously, I've thought a lot about it because how that show I love, Finding Your Roots. That's a show for people like us who know our birth parents, or at least one of them. Um, and so even though I love that show, I often take exception to what people say, about, "Oh, well, now I understand why I'm like this, or I come from these people who," and I think, "Oh, bullshit. I don't know. I mean, come on." But I also understand first of all, I mean, just for medical reasons, it's a good thing to know your biological people, because there might be things you should know. But if you're adopted and don't know, um, um, I don't know. I just I don't know. But it's again, one of those things that people who have their biological family and know them take for granted so much about their sense of who they are that people who are adopted don't have. And, it's a that no matter how you slice it, that is a loss, a big loss right off the bat, a severance. And even if that person ends up with loving people and a loving family and wonderful, there's still that that severance that those of us who aren't, weren't, can never comprehend. Just saying. Watchman says, when I read an obit of a very young person, I always wonder what they died of. It often doesn't say why. The truth is, it's none of anyone's business. Yeah, but I still wonder. I'm like you. I do too. That brings up something I've been wanting to ask you guys. Because I do look at social media. The most social media I still look at is Threads, which is Meta, Zuckerberg, but it ain't Musk. Not quite as horrific. And the people on Threads are more my kind of people. They aren't the people on former Twitter. And I do bump into, interesting stuff on there. But the thing I don't understand, about our new way of connecting with each other are these posts when people are in unbelievable grief, like that you've just lost a child or your spouse, and one of their reactions is to write and share that with me, who doesn't know him. I've I actually have taken, like, screenshots of some because I thought, "Why would you?" Or a lot of times you see, just got a diagnosis of cancer, I'm going in for blah, 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 please pray for me. Okay. To pass those up and not push you feel like a jerk. On the other hand, I don't know. I find this, are people so alone and bereft that I don't understand it because I lived most of the vast majority of my life. I was actually thinking that walking the dog yesterday, that if I live as long as my dad, he lived to be 86. And that's someone makes it to 86. That's great. And I have all his afflictions and all that. So I'm thinking, all right. So if I live as long as my dad, that just gives me 8 more years. And then I thought, 8 years, okay. And I and I thought of how quickly, all of a sudden time's flying, right? Um, yeah, but I don't understand how it's comforting if strangers who don't even know you, I don't get it. Um, let me see if I can find one. And sometimes they're just, I find them so bizarre. And I'm told that for younger people, this is how they connect. They don't find it bizarre. Let me see if I can find anything. Probably not. These are so far back. Um, so boy, do I need to get rid of a lot of stuff here. Okay, here's maybe one. Oh, this is the most grotesque one. This I did because it's grotesque. Do you think this is real? My mom is having her leg amputated today. Parentheses. We've joked this is her mommy makeover, a term we otherwise abhor. I need some absolutely hilariously / dark jokes for when she wakes up. What? Here's somebody asking us after her poor mom wakes up without her leg to tell. Anyway, okay. Here's one. Here's really what I'm talking about. To anyone who followed my scream into the void yesterday and sent prayers, thank you. My husband passed away today. There's just one after the other. I go back into the hospital Wednesday morning. The doctor will be performing a craniotomy. Prayers appreciated. And then here's my prayer. I don't get it. Are we that isolated? Okay, we got 15 minutes left. I think I'm probably back to the usual stuff, unless somebody wants to jump in here on chat. Some things I do want to note before I leave you for the week. This Epstein stuff, this stuff that's missing, it's clear it's missing. A woman's statements about Trump abusing her when she was, it's unclear, she'd be like 13 to 15 years old. And this sounds not crazy at all. For those of you who maybe haven't been paying attention, what's been noticed is that there are FBI memos that summarize interviews that FBI agents did with a woman in 2019 who came forward when Epstein was nabbed the second time. And she wanted it on record that she had been one of his victims and had been assaulted by him a number of times. This was in on Hilton Head Island. She was a young teenager who he said he needed a babysitter, and in fact, there was no baby there or whatever anyway. The FBI conducted 4 interviews with this woman. And in each interview, there was a summary of each and notes kept. But only one of the 4 summaries is in the files. The other 3 have disappeared. And the other 3 are when she talked about Trump. Because the one that's there is her talking about Epstein's abuse. Let me see if the FBI did 3 subsequent interviews with her, assessing the account she had first given them in August and October of 2019. And the Times, the New York Times, looked at serial numbers on the individual pages that have been released, and it shows that more than 50 pages of investigative materials on this woman and her accusations are gone. She has said that Epstein introduced her to Trump, and she had claimed, this is at least in the initial thing that's out there, she had claimed that Trump had assaulted her in a violent way in the mid 80s when she was 13 to 15 years old. I mean, this is all it says in the sole. So the person who came forward is a woman. She came with a lawyer. The lawyer told the FBI, and this is also in there. Well, in the sole summary of the FBI interview, the woman said that she did not know Epstein's full name until 2019, when a friend sent her a photograph of this guy who had just been arrested. And she said, "Oh my God, that's him." So the woman told the FBI that she still had the photo that her friend sent her on her phone. And she said, this is a photo of him and Trump that has been out there. We've all seen it, I guess. And it says here that she gave the FBI permission to take a photograph of the image on her phone, but she said, please take Trump out, just have Epstein. And when the FBI said, why? Her lawyer jumped in and said, look, she is concerned about implicating other people, specifically if they are well known, because she's fearful of retaliation. She's scared. Trump assaulted her and she's scared. She's not coming forward. Whoever this woman is, that woman is scared out of her mind. And the Justice Department is scared to let whatever it was she told out, because they've either destroyed those documents or I don't know if they're ever retrievable. But it's always the cover up. Just saying. It's always the cover up. And we're supposed to trust Pam Bondi when she says these accusations against Trump have all. We know that they're not doing anything to investigate any of this stuff. Their one purpose is to protect him. I can't imagine. Did you see some of the stuff with the woman who's going to end up being the Surgeon General? God almighty. God. I mean, she'll be Republicans' control, and they'll put her through. Never mind that she's not a practicing physician. Never mind that she never really finished her medical training. Never mind that what she really is a wellness influencer. Never mind that she has come out against birth control and in her testimony yesterday, she refused to say whether she would advise parents to vaccinate their children against measles. She's put forward, claims about autism, and she's a smart cookie. She's smooth, was very unflappable. She's going through. And this will be, I guess, the first time the country has a Surgeon General who is not really, doesn't even have a current medical license. You can't make it up. I wish the women who were abused by him would get lawyers and hold a press conference. They're scared. I mean, you got to figure many of them have gone on with their lives. They're married, they're mothers, they're people in positions in business or private sector or what, who knows? And it would be like sort of, because of the way it works now with our media and social media specifically, that they would be volunteering themselves to be abused again. because they will be. They'll be slandered. Their lives will be upended. And this is exactly what Trump and these guys are counting on. Now, obviously, there are quite a few who have been willing to come forward. But whether or not any of those are women that Trump assaulted, we don't know. I don't know. Jesus H. You look at there was a story of this guy who's a school teacher, an elementary school teacher in Tucson, who likes to play drummer. And so he ended up years ago, I don't know how many years ago, joining a band with some other guys who like to play. And one of those guys in his band is married to Savannah Guthrie's sister. So he's that guy that we see, the Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law, who the geniuses on social media who like ruining people's lives with speculation had already decided was the one who, killed his mother-in-law. But so apparently now the authorities have said no. And so they've moved on to this guy in his band. An elementary school teacher, his wife is a principal of a school. They have 2 children, a teenager and a 6-year-old boy, and their lives have been blown up because the geniuses on the internet have decided he's the guy. They got nothing. Nothing. And the sheriff has said, I so feel for him. The sheriff says he's going through hell and it's horrible. And I wish I could jump out and defend every single one of these people that has been falsely accused. But it doesn't stop these bastards. And so his 6-year-old kid is now not living at their home. His wife and he spent one whole day with the lights out in their house, hiding in their bedroom. There were people outside of their home. Their address has been posted on the internet, all of this kind of stuff because of these amateur true crime sleuthy types who just, I guess, have no compunction about destroying people's lives or their sense of security. And one can only, I don't know if my imagination is so vivid that I can conjure what would happen to this woman whose files are missing, who has told the FBI that Epstein brought her to Donald Trump and that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her and physically assaulted her when she resisted. She was a child. if she comes out, we'll go to war with Iran, I guess. Okay, guys, I guess Nancy likes my sweater. Yeah, here, look. It is. It's a neat one, isn't it? Up. Okay, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And God help us what we'll be talking about next time we speak, which will be in 4 days. It's a lifetime in this golden age of America, ain't it? Have a good 4 days. I think we all need to treasure what we have and what is good and beautiful as much as we can, right? As much as we're capable. Let's do it.